At first glance, you might wonder, why would Allah, the creator of the vast universe, take time to mention such a tiny creature as the ant in the Holy Quran? What can a small insect teach us that is important for our lives? The answer is profound. The ant is not just a small insect. It is a symbol filled with wisdom, lessons, and guidance for us all. Allah uses the story of the ant to show us that greatness is not always measured by size, strength, or power. Instead, true greatness comes from wisdom, teamwork, patience, humility, and purposeful action, qualities the ant perfectly represents. When we look deeper, the ant's behavior teaches us how to live a meaningful life, how to prepare for challenges, how to communicate wisely, and how even the smallest of actions can have huge effects. By reflecting on the ant's story in the Quran, we find a mirror for our own lives and faith. This lesson inspires us to be more mindful, more caring, and more determined in our daily journey as Muslims. It reminds us that no matter how small or weak we feel, we can still make a big difference by following the right values. In this video, I will explain why Allah chose to mention the ant, the important lessons it teaches us, and how we can apply these lessons in our lives to grow spiritually and succeed in this world and the hereafter. So stay tuned and open your heart to one of the most beautiful signs in the Quran. 1. The story of the ant in the Quran. It is the story of the ant, a tiny creature that most people overlook. But in the Quran, Allah has given this small insect a remarkable place, not just once, but as part of a powerful lesson for humanity. When I first read the verse about the ant, I was amazed. How could such a tiny creature, so small and seemingly insignificant, be mentioned in the words of Allah? Yet this little ant has so much to teach us about life, awareness, communication, and respect. The story is about Prophet Solomon, peace be upon him, who was given the gift of understanding the speech of other creatures. One day, as he and his army passed through a valley full of ants, the ants sensed danger. They feared being crushed by the marching soldiers. So, an ant spoke to the others, warning them to enter their homes to be safe. Imagine an ant, so tiny and fragile, taking responsibility for its community by warning others. The ant shows care, leadership, and quick thinking. This moment reveals that Allah's creation, no matter how small, has wisdom and purpose. It tells us that we are not the only important beings on this earth, and even the smallest creature can teach us important lessons if we look carefully. But why would Allah mention an ant and its voice? Why highlight a moment of fear and caution from such a small creature? The answer lies in the deeper message for us. Allah is showing us the importance of awareness in our own lives. Like the ants who were alert to danger, we must also be aware of the risks and challenges around us. The ant's voice is a reminder that sometimes saving a community depends on someone speaking up and warning others. It tells us that no matter how small our role may seem, our actions can protect and guide those around us. This story also reminds us about the blessing of wisdom that Prophet Solomon had. He could understand the speech of animals, a unique gift from Allah. But it wasn't just for Solomon's benefit. Allah included this story in the Quran so that we, generations later, could reflect on it and learn. It teaches us about leadership, responsibility, and care for others. We learn that a good leader, like the ant, thinks not just of himself, but of the community. He is aware of dangers and acts to protect his people. Another important aspect is respect. The ants respected their environment and took care to avoid causing harm to others. They moved carefully and communicated with humility. This teaches us respect for every creature, no matter how small or weak they seem. Allah created all creatures with wisdom and purpose, and He mentions the ant as an example to remind us to respect life in all forms. When we read this verse, we see a reflection of our own society. Often, people feel their voice is too small or insignificant to make a difference. But this story shows that even the smallest voice can save lives and make a difference. It motivates us to speak out for what is right, to warn others about danger, and to care for our communities. Furthermore, the ant story is a lesson in cooperation. Ants live and work together for the good of their entire colony. Their success depends on their teamwork and communication. Allah's mention of this collective effort inspires us to build strong relationships with those around us. We are reminded that we do not live in isolation and that our actions affect the whole community. Like the ants, when we work together, we can overcome challenges and create a peaceful environment. It teaches us that no matter how great or powerful we feel, there are creatures smaller and seemingly weaker than us that possess wisdom and strength. This should remind us to be humble before Allah and before His creation. Arrogance blinds us, but humility opens our hearts to learn and grow. The ant, a creature so small, has a voice in the Quran. This is a powerful symbol of humility and respect. In my own life, I find this story motivating because it teaches me to value even the small moments of awareness and kindness. The ant did not ignore the danger. It acted immediately to protect its family. Similarly, we should be alert to the challenges around us and respond with wisdom and care. We should use our voice to guide and protect, not just remain silent or indifferent. The story of the ant in the Quran is not just about an insect, but about the qualities that every believer should cultivate. Awareness, communication, responsibility, respect, teamwork, and humility are all wrapped up in this small verse. Allah's wisdom is truly unlimited, and by reflecting on the ant, we find lessons that guide us in our daily lives. So, let us open our hearts to these lessons and let the small ant inspire us to be mindful, caring, and strong in our faith. 2. What lesson does the ant teach us? First, the ant teaches us about hard work and patience. Ants are known for their dedication. They never stop working. They gather food, build their homes, and protect their community without giving up. In the heat of the day or the cold of the night, ants continue their work quietly and patiently. This small creature teaches us that success and strength come through steady effort and persistence. We must learn to keep trying in our lives, no matter how hard things get. Patience is a key trait in Islam, and the ant shows this beautifully. It does not rush or complain, but works calmly and consistently. We too should follow this example in our studies, work, and worship. No matter how difficult life is, if we stay patient and keep trying, Allah's promise will come true, and our efforts will bear fruit. Second, the ant teaches us the importance of planning and foresight. Ants do not live carelessly. They plan their work and prepare for the future. They store food for the winter and build strong homes to protect themselves from danger. This shows us that we should think ahead and prepare for what is coming. Life is full of changes, and those who prepare wisely will succeed. Third, the ant shows us humility and teamwork. Despite their small size, ants work together as one family. Each ant plays its role without arrogance or selfishness. They cooperate to protect their colony and achieve great things. This teaches us that we should work with others in kindness and respect. No one is greater than another in the eyes of Allah, except by their piety and good deeds. Fourth, the ant's story teaches us about awareness and responsibility. When the ants saw danger approaching, one ant spoke up to warn the others. This shows that we must be aware of what is happening around us and take responsibility for those we care about. In life, we face many challenges, and sometimes the right thing to do is to warn others or help guide them away from harm. This is a noble act that Islam encourages. Finally, the ant reminds us to value every creature and appreciate Allah's creation. Sometimes we think only humans matter, and we forget that Allah created everything with a purpose. The ant, though small, has a role in nature and life's balance. In my personal experience, whenever I remember the ant, I feel inspired to work harder, be more patient, plan wisely, and care for others around me. The ant's story teaches me that no matter how small or ordinary we feel, we all have a role and responsibility in this world. By being humble, aware, and cooperative, we can achieve great things and please Allah. So, my dear friends, Let the ant be a reminder for you to stay hardworking, patient, thoughtful, humble, and responsible. Take the lessons from this tiny creature and apply them in your life. Believe that with Allah's help, your efforts will never be wasted, and your voice, no matter how small, can make a difference. 3. The importance of communication. Communication is the way we connect with others, share information, and understand one another. Without it, confusion, misunderstanding, and problems arise. When we look at the ant, we see a perfect example of clear and purposeful communication. In the story of Prophet Solomon and the ants, one ant warned the others about the danger ahead. This warning was more than just a sound. It was a message filled with care and responsibility. The ant did not keep silent. Instead, it spoke up to save its community. This reminds us that communication is not just about talking. It is about caring. When we communicate with others, we share our feelings, thoughts, and warnings. We help each other avoid harm and find solutions. Moreover, good communication builds trust and strengthens relationships. Without trust, communities fall apart and families suffer. When we speak honestly and listen carefully, we build strong bonds. The ant's clear warning to its colony shows us that trust comes from honest and caring words. The ant also teaches us the importance of listening. Communication is not only about speaking, it is also about hearing and understanding. The ants listened to their leader and acted on the warning. This saved their community. In our lives, when we listen to advice, warnings, or reminders from others, we avoid many problems. In our daily lives, effective communication is key to solving problems, building understanding, and strengthening our faith. When we communicate with our families, friends, and communities, we should aim to do so with kindness, patience, and clarity. The ant's lesson reminds us that communication is a tool Allah has given us to bring people together and to remind each other of the right path. Personally, I find that when I communicate openly and honestly, my relationships improve, and I feel more connected to those around me. Like the ants, when we communicate well, we can face any challenge together. We feel safer, stronger, and more united. So, my dear brothers and sisters, let us learn from the ant and practice good communication. Let us speak with wisdom, listen with patience, and use our words to bring peace and understanding. May Allah help us all to use this gift in the best way. I truly hope this video inspired you to see the small things in life differently, to appreciate patience, teamwork, hard work, and humility, no matter how tiny the step may seem. Remember, every small good deed counts in the sight of Allah, and just like the ant, we too can make a big impact in our lives and the lives of others by acting with wisdom and care. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like it, share your reflections in the comments, and subscribe to Deen Xplorers for more uplifting and meaningful reminders from the Quran and Sunnah. May Allah bless you and guide us all on the straight path.